Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Are You a Charlotte? We are talking to the fantastic Margaret Cho today. She's in one of the all-time great episodes, The Real Me. It's episode 402, so we're now in the fourth season, which I really think of as the third season, just a very long season. So this is the fashion show, and she plays the producer of the fashion show, and she's incredible. You may know Margaret. She's done so many things. I don't even know where to begin, but she's done so much, and she's also an incredible stand-up comedian, and she's currently on tour. You can see her tour across the country, and she has her own website for tickets, margaretcho.com. So check her out. Here we go. Let's talk to Margaret Cho about The Real Me.
Hi.
Margaret Cho, I'm so excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here. I'm glad that we got to connect.
Gosh, me too, because this episode is one of my all-time favorites, and you are such a big part of it. We had to get you. We had to get you.
I love it. I love this one. Yeah.
It's good, right?
It's such a great one.
Isn't it? And so the episode is called The Real Me for anyone who doesn't remember. It's very iconic. I don't use that word frequently, but this would be one.
Yeah.
And had you seen it lately, or did you rewatch and think like, wow, I forgot about this?
No, I saw it actually really recently. I saw it just a couple weeks ago, as I was actually doing a rewatch for myself. Because I just think it's so iconic. It deserves a rewatch. I mean, It's one of those ones where this is like the best of the show in that era, and also the best of the time.
Yeah.
You know, when we're talking about great early 2000s television, this was like really just the gold standard of what television was. And it was one of those really special episodes where you had amazing guest stars, people playing themselves.
Yes.
Really incredible.
Now, when you did the show at the time, what was your awareness of the show, or how did you feel about, your part and I feel like you ad-libbed, you brought a lot of yourself to it.
Well, I had been obsessed with the show since the pilot, and I was actually sent the pilot before it aired by Carolyn at HBO because she wanted me to write on it, because I've been writing scripts, and I had a movie script that was kind of out there that was like my spec, and it was actually like such a kind of perfect entry point into the show. And so she sent it to me, but I was like trying to just do stand-up comedy. And I kind of, was at that impasse where I didn't know if I want to be a writer or be a stand-up comic. In a way, sometimes like in those early days, you had to choose.
Yeah.
And I kind of decided, well, I'm going to focus on stand-up comedy. And I really did come to regret it, because I really loved the show. And I fell in love with the pilot. I really loved it. And then, of course, watched it after, and then later became friends with Michael Patrick King,
right?
Who he and I would do stand-up comedy shows together,
right? And
so he and I were always telling him about how obsessed I was with the show and how much I loved it, and it just this part worked out, and so I'm so glad that it did.
Me too, but gosh, we would have been lucky to have you as a writer. That would have been incredible.
I would have loved to do that. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, what do you want to be in life? I think that I probably would have come out better. I would probably be show running several shows right now. If I had chosen that route, I would be doing a lot. It would be Shondaland. It would be Choland.
Absolutely. It could still happen. But the other thing is that I feel like, as a woman and being a stand-up, it was important then. I mean, it's still important now, right? I just feel like there weren't that many, and it seemed like there was an opening at that time where you and a few others really like stepped through that door. And I think that was important. It felt important to me to know that there were women stand-ups out there, kind of doing what was traditionally thought of as a male thing, and kind of telling things from a different point of view, your own point of view. I felt like that was important.
Thank you. Yeah, it really was, and it's also like, I just think it was so different then, because we really we couldn't do it all. I think now women have sort of a way that they can do everything. There's a way that we could do it all. But back then you really had to choose, like, what's your track? Like,
there were so many like with us, it was like TV or film, like
Right.
things that don't even make sense anymore to say out loud,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But back then, yeah, you had to kind of pick a lane and stay in it, which is so unfair.
It's so unfair because, and it was even to the point of like, oh, are you going to be a model or an actress? Are you going to be a mother? Or are you going, you know, like,
Yes.
Or lesbian.
Yes. Or a lesbian mother. Absolutely. And now, I mean, I think because of social media also, like as I was watching the episode too, you know, it's about your inner model. Carrie has this whole thing. Am I a model? Can I fit in? You know, what is my role here? And then I was thinking about how different it is now in that like, everyone, like if you want to be like a model on your Instagram, you can. Do you know what I mean? Like it's interesting. It's very interesting in terms of, I mean, I guess what she's also looking for is kind of like an outward seal of approval too, but that's what kind of social media can seemingly provide, though it's not real. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's interesting. Right. It's interesting.
What's super interesting too is watching this episode again and not having the social media element.
Yeah.
Because if you had done sort of the episode, if you had done this episode, say in you know, just like that, you would have had the whole other part of like social media becoming viral and then she's a meme.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Oh,
and it would have been great to be able to explore that. I was like thinking, oh, you know, I actually accosted MPK like 2 years ago, right before season 3 of And Just Like That. And I was like, I really want to do the show again. And he's like, oh yeah, perfect. And I should have pitched that to him. We should do another.
It would be so great. It would be so great.
Have it something else happen, whether it not necessarily falling, being fashion roadkill, but you know, but having her become a meme.
Absolutely.
That was the era. We didn't have that yet.
We did not have that yet. It's so different. I mean, watching it, there are definitely episodes where those kind of like time differences are so clear. And this was one of them. And that I also think, I mean, we've just started the 4th season. In my mind, I always thought this was the 3rd season, right? Like to me, the 3rd season is when things really started working. And the 4th season, I don't even really remember. But when I watched this, I was like, oh yeah, in my mind, I collected them all in the 3rd season. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's when we just kind of gelled, you know, things got more cohesive. Not that, I mean, I liked the first and 2nd seasons much more than I thought that I would when I rewatched, but the 3rd season I love, like I passionately love. Yeah. And these 2 episodes that we start the 4th season with, Michael Patrick wrote and directed, which is, that's how he would like to roll in life at all times, right? Yeah. But I think that was the first time he got to do it. And we aired them together, apparently. So this was really us kind of upping our game, like this is what we can do. And when you look at the first episode next to the second episode, they're very different in the way where HBO allowed us, you know, to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more introspective, and then have something like a big thing like the fashion show where she falls down, which, you know, now is a meme. Like, even though we obviously did it back then, obviously it is
a meme now. It's out there. It's, you know, it's so fun because I see it, you know, you get used in things like Saint Hoax, which is a great kind of meme site. They use the clip often, which is really, really funny. It's really great. And I just love how it's become part of our, like, meme hieroglyphics.
Yes.
You know, there's a way to use memes as a kind of shorthand in society. So yeah, fashion roadkill has become definitely part of the language.
It's so good. The way that I know, it's so good. I mean, I look at it also and I don't know. I can see when I'm watching us that kind of everyone seems amped up in a certain way. Like we know that things are working, you know, and we're excited to be there. Everyone seems very excited to be there. But I also think on the other hand, I remember a lot of stress, right? Like who could we get? Like it's obviously not Dolce & Gabbana. I'm sure we tried to get the real Dolce & Gabbana, right? And at one point they say something like, we're Dolce & Gabbana. Did people not know that they weren't really Dolce & Gabbana? It's so interesting to me.
I think back then they would have just accepted it as, at face value. Of course that's who they are.
Right?
You know, we didn't know enough to say, that's not obviously
that's
not
Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny. And like, I don't know, I knew who Kevin Aquan was, but I don't know if regular people knew who Kevin Aquan was.
Right. Outside of like the makeup sort of a geek people or I mean, I knew because I was a fan of his books
Me
and
too.
I loved his style and I
Yeah.
learned a lot from him and he and I actually had a really good time backstage
Oh.
and he gave me a huge like but big bags of his new product line that he was releasing and he gave me signed books that he
Wow.
had back there, and
Ah,
he was just so wonderful. And actually, that was the last time I got to see him before
I
he passed
know.
away.
I know. I know. Sarah had told us that she knew him and he'd worked on her before. And I think she called him to ask him to come. And all of us were very excited. And at one point, I think we wanted to go back there because you guys were kind of separate, back there. And we were out front of the fashion show. And she said that he was laying down, that he didn't feel well because he was getting headaches from what would eventually be, um, you know, horrible for him, and that his hands had grown. Like there were things that she was aware of that I don't think publicly people were aware of, which is so sad when you watch it. He's so sweet.
Yeah, he's such a beautiful man, and you would
So,
never imagine that somebody so young and vibrant and brilliant and gorgeous would not live very much long after that, you know? It's
no,
so strange.
no, but I'm glad that you were there and that you got to spend time with him and that you had a
Yeah,
good time. That's so
yeah.
good. That's
It was
so,
really
so
good.
good.
It was
And I,
good.
I have talked to Heidi Klum since this, and I can't remember if we talked in depth about the day, but I know she had fun. Like, I
Mhm.
think it was a fun day.
Yeah,
Do you remember it? Okay, good.
it was a really fun day. I remember there just being this like flurry of activity. Like it was not just like a set, it was really like a fashion show.
Yeah.
'Cause you had all of the models and you had all of the extras, but everybody looked perfect, and it was just so well styled and just so real. I mean, exactly what you think.
Do you have Pat memories?
I mean, Pat, I've been a fan of as her stores and like just her style, and
Yeah.
I was so excited to be styled by her, and just to go into that, fashion, the workshop, of all your characters out there and like what she was doing. She's just such a brilliant person, with that crazy red hair and just her energy it was really exciting to just be around her.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And that show, I remember it just being, you know, like so heightened to be trying to pull off that fashion show. And Ed Koch was
Mhm.
there, and it
Yes.
was, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was exciting. And I remember everyone being very amped up and excited. We had obviously just come back, right? So we had a lot of energy. But also, I love all your scenes on the street, which I'd kind of forgotten about. Like when you're on the phone with her, and then when you
Yeah.
run into her in that first restaurant, like they're all so good. And how
Yeah.
much input did you have into that?
Well, not a ton. Like it was to me, like I just wanted to follow what Michael was like looking
Hmm.
for. And then I really don't think that any of it was really improv.
Really?
I think it was really just on the page. And
Wow.
it just kind of came together really naturally.
Well, also, he knew you. I think when he
Yeah,
knows
that's part of
people,
it.
he writes so well in your voice.
Right. That's definitely it because we had done so many shows together. So he was really, really well versed in me. And he also knew the real person. So the character is a real person.
Right.
She actually runs all these shows and she was
Right.
actually there too. So she
Oh,
was
right.
there to give us some advice and some kind of like pointers on what it was really like to be, running and calling the shots at a show like that. So it was a wonderful combination between Michael's writing and this real life person.
Absolutely. Absolutely wonderful. And so like kind of interesting. I remember at the time, like when Carrie's talking about, at one point, Charlotte says, I say to Carrie, like, how many shows did you drag me to? Like, this was the time that we were all going to Fashion Week.
Hmm.
It was a very, like, it seemed like a very separate world back then, not like
Right.
now where, it's like all on our feeds and,
Right.
very much discussed. I mean, at least for me, I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I guess the social media effect, right? But back then it was like a kind of a exclusive closed world. And we were just so excited to go. And I remember we'd go to the tents at Bryant Park and just spend the day and just go to this show or go to that show where, it was fun. It was interesting and
Yeah.
fun and not it was not so, it was like just being in a different world. It didn't feel like our world, which is what I loved about it. And I don't feel like that's true anymore. I feel like all the worlds are just like blended together now, you know?
Right. It's very different because now, at these fashion shows, you see like influencers and you see just all of sort of the social media like presence there. And it is kind of for everybody. But back then, it was a very big deal if you got invited to a show.
Yeah.
And it was like, very tight and, it was fast and frenetic. When the models came out, it was just so magical and it was just
Yeah.
very stunning to just watch the spectacle of fashion before you. And,
Yes.
um, along with the specialness of being asked, you
Yes.
know, representing New York, representing fashion, being like able to be in the audience was part of the show as well.
Definitely, definitely. And I think that's what's so smart about Michael, including, basically just like wrapping the whole episode around that. And I also feel like when Carrie's talking about like how much she loves models, like it's so sweet,
Yeah.
it's so sweet. And that is how we grew up. I mean, for right or wrong, right? Like we were like, oh, they're just amazing. Like at one point she goes on about Cindy Crawford's mole. It's so
Uh-huh.
cute
It's so
and
cute.
like innocent,
Mhm.
in a way.
Well, it's almost like, the dream that we have of femininity, the dream of womanhood. Like this is like the spectacle of womanhood that we're given. And to just really enjoy that, the beauty of that. And
Yeah.
it's very innocent. It's very like goes into Carrie has that kind of very little girl dream-like quality sometimes, which makes her so incredibly engaging and somebody that you really identify with because she kind of, has so many little girl feelings that she brings to the surface. So that's one of them. I love that.
That's so true. And it's mixed also with intelligence and irony all together, which is what also kind of makes her so interesting. Like when she
Mhm.
tells the photographer, played by James McCaffrey, which I want to talk about in a second, that, when she first moved to New York, that she would spend her money on Vogue rather than dinner because it fed her more.
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
It's so true. It's
Yeah.
such a very like deep truth. And I remember once in the 90s, I was like on tour on my birthday and I was having the worst birthday. Like it was
Oh.
like I was in the middle of like nowhere. It's freezing cold and I was having dinner at a gas station restaurant.
Oh no.
And I actually had purchased at the airport an Italian Vogue. And I'm
Oh.
reading my giant Italian Vogue in the middle of a gas station restaurant, and I felt better. Like I was like, this is not
Absolutely.
so bad because at least I have this.
That's so true. That's so true because somehow, I mean, just the other day, I was somewhere and I saw a real paper Vogue, and I was like, yes, I need to hold it and touch it and look at it.
Now all the cards fall out.
Right? The cards fall out and the ads are so beautiful. And it's
Fun.
something that I feel like it's going to go away, and I'm sad about
Yeah.
it.
I wish that I had an old George. Remember
Yeah,
George?
I
Were you ever
do.
in George?
I don't think I was ever in George. I remember talking to them about being in George, but I don't know if I was. I just remember George and being like so excited about George.
Just the idea. I mean, it would be so great to have George today. Could you imagine how great that would be?
It would be great. It would be great. I know. We would need him though to make it
That's
great.
right. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. But the idea of like a, sort of a democratic leaning kind of humor, but also satirical, but also current event based, like glossy magazine,
Exactly. That would
expensive.
be amazing. It's interesting the whole because of this of Ryan Murphy show, the like deep dive into the 90s of
Yeah.
Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and John. It's so fascinating to me. I mean, were you there? Like, what were you in New York for all of the 90s?
Yes, I was there back and forth. So I split between LA and New York, and I would do different things in New York. I had a lot of friends there. I was hanging out with the rock band Luna. So
Ooh,
they were in the East Village. And so I
right.
was down there with all the rock stars and, in giant platform shoes and walking all around in like a rayon knit. There was something very spongy about all the clothes in the 90s. It was kind of all rayon knit.
Yeah, we weren't into cotton yet. It's true.
Yeah, it was very rayon, way too close to the skin. And, just kind of boxy cuts on everything. And even like the shirting, like the button-up shirts that now it's like crisp cotton, but then it had a stretch to it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Weird rayon.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Clothes were weird then. And I think it's interesting because now there's this whole kind of people are, trying to get this style or trying to talk about this style. And I've seen a couple of things that have said like, you're never going to get the style because the clothes are just fundamentally different, which I do think is true. I do think that's true. And I don't think that they actually really want the clothes.
No, they weren't as well constructed. We didn't have fast fashion.
Right.
In the same way. So, but the stuff was just like not good. It didn't last in the same way.
Right. And I think it was hard to find like good tailoring at the time. Mm-hmm. Like it was boxy. Everything was boxy and weird, which is why when you saw someone like Carolyn, it's like Sarah Jessica. Like Sarah Jessica wears these sweatpants around, but you cannot tell that they're sweatpants because she has styled them in her Sarah Jessica way. Right. And at one point she told me that she was trying to get clothes for her daughters to go back to school. And her daughters were like, well, you'd never wear sweatpants. And she was like, I wear sweatpants every day. Yeah. They're like, you do? Because just her own style dictates that everything will look different on her, which is why she is what she is, which you would understand so much better than I would understand. Right. Like you also have incredible style, but that's not something you can replicate.
No, it's hard to actually do. I mean, part of it is like mastering your own tailoring. Like I actually yesterday took sweatpants into the tailor. Like
tell us the secrets.
You have to take sweatpants into the tailor.
And what do you have them do?
You have them move the cuffs on the bottom to the right length. So usually sweatpants are either too long or too boxy in the leg. Or so you have to actually have them kind of fit to your leg. And really, really think about where there's too much fabric and think about where you will, be able to maximize your look and not look so slovenly.
Right.
Sweatpants are meant to be sort of a slovenly outfit, but they can actually be upgraded quite a lot.
Right. Well, see, these things. I do not know these things. So I do not wear sweatpants out of the house. That's just me. I'm just like, I'm not going to take a risk. Right. But like you guys understand style. But I just think also it's funny because people love that. But then they also don't really understand what goes into how that's done, right? Like, this, okay, you take your sweatpants to the tailor. Yeah. I mean, who knew?
If you could do it yourself. I could do it myself. I don't have a machine anymore. I got rid of all my sewing stuff because it's just like too much of an obsession to me because I like to make clothes.
Wow.
So it's very time consuming and I don't think it's good.
It sounds awesome.
I do too much. So I want to just have it like simpler. And so, I just take them to the tailor. But it's, I think if you really spend all of your time paying attention to what your clothes fit like, you'll buy less.
Good point.
You invest in the fit and you don't like kind of go, because fast fashion is so pervasive. You want to buy.
Right.
But it's better to buy quality things,
right?
Have them tailored to you, and then you have that thing, which is, to me, that's the best.
That's a good point. It's an excellent point. Absolutely. I try to remind myself to shop my closet.
Oh, yeah, you should. I mean, you have amazing pieces. So,
Thank you. I mean, only really from work,
eye.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Well, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful. It's wonderful to have. And sometimes I forget. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, there's that thing. And I could just get it out. That's in, whatever. I don't know. Or maybe I don't even care if it's in, right?
I mean, also Charlotte, like I think Charlotte, Tom Brown wouldn't exist as it does without Charlotte.
Oh, that's the sweetest thing.
Tom Brown is like the culmination of watching Charlotte for all of this time.
I love that. Oh, I love that so much. You're so sweet. That's such a nice compliment. Thank you. That's so nice.
Did Charlotte wear Tom Brown? Because I feel like that's so meta.
We did towards like an Undressed Like That. Like I have some coats. Like we didn't do a head to toe type of a thing because it was almost so on the nose in a way.
Right.
But definitely, I don't think in the olden days we did. I'd have to think back. I mean, maybe, but it was always such an interesting push-pull with Pat about Charlotte, right? And sometimes because I felt really like when I was watching these episodes, the first two of season 2, there's a scene where I've gotten out my Burberry coat from the first season and I'm re-wearing it and my hair is longer, which is what I wanted Charlotte's hair to look like the whole time. I've finally achieved it at the beginning of season 4.
Yeah.
Like that is the Upper East Side hair.
Yeah, for sure.
But Pat never really liked anything to be kind of cut and dried, right? She was always like twisting something or turning something or mixing something so that it's not 100% that thing, right? Which I really respect now. At the time, sometimes a struggle, right? Like I would want it to be cut and dried because I felt like that's what Charlotte would want.
Well, Charlotte was so tailored. Charlotte was just so, she was really classic American style. She was really, she was that, Carolyn Bessette feeling, not as crazed and wild. Because Carolyn has sort of like a wild horse quality.
That's true. That's
a little bit off. But Charlotte was like the more like tailored version of that.
Right. Yes.
The more sort of chaste and more refined.
Yes.
But still elegant, and that's still like Americana way.
Definitely. Which I loved. I love that part. I mean, I think for Pat too, that's kind of boring for her, right? So she was like, let's twist it. Like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Which I think is great. And that's the Tom Brown of it all.
Yeah.
Right. It's always going to have
classic. Like, I love your like the long pony.
Thank you.
You had the best like sleek long pony because it was so elegant and it was really giving American royalty.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you. I so did not feel that way at the time. It's that kind of thing where you look back and you're like, oh my God, I should have relaxed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you on the show, like Charlotte, I think Charlotte had the best style, the best boyfriend, and best husband. I think Trey was really the best man, even though there was problems.
Ooh.
I would take Trey over Big. I would take Trey
definitely.
over Stephen.
Definitely.
I would take
no offense, but yes.
Trey over Aiden. I would take Trey over. There's no competition, really.
I know what you mean. It's interesting because there's a lot of the story that I don't remember because I remember Kyle more so than the fictional story, right? So when I watch now, I'm like, what is going to happen? Because I don't really remember it all. And it's super interesting. I did not remember this at all is it this one or the one before where I go to his, I think it might be the one before where I go to his apartment, which is later turns into Charlotte's apartment, right? But it has like horrible plaid wallpaper, which is kind of entertaining. Yeah. And I've gone out with the girls. We've gone to a party and I'm yakking my little head off to some unsuspecting woman about how she says, where's your husband? Oh, she says, that's a beautiful ring. Where's your husband? So then I give her a monologue about how we're working things out and we have problems in the bedroom, etc. And I go off, right? And this woman's like, that's really not what I was looking for. And then after that, I realize, oh, this is weird and we have to figure out what we're doing. So I go to his apartment. It's the nighttime. He gets up out of the bed. He comes. He's trying to have sex with me, but I'm like, no, I have a list of what we have to talk about. I have a list.
Yeah.
Like poor Charlotte, I know, but also he is confusing.
He's got some mommy issues. It's like very, Bunny's a nightmare. So it's a very complicated thing. I think that, but just the way that you look together, you and Kyle are so beautiful together. It's just so gorgeous.
I know. I do love to look at us. I agree. It takes me to a happy place to look at us because I felt like he was like my brother in a weird way.
Totally.
And also
like the Gemini of it all, like the total twinsies, like the male version of this beauty, the brunette beauty of the female. Like it's just perfect.
It's true, but there is that very pesky problem of the sex, right? And it's so funny because she's so hopeful, and then like every time she comes with this list of things to talk to him about, and then he's trying to kiss her and take her to bed, and she's like, no, we've got to talk, and then he comes on her leg.
It's such a bummer.
I know.
It's such a bummer.
And then she's like, yeah, see, I've got to go. And you just really feel for her. And I don't remember this part, but like that is really a conundrum, right? Mm-hmm. Of like everything is wonderful and except for the thing that's really pretty
that's
important.
Super important. That's the most important thing, actually.
I mean, I think so too. And what I really think is that she doesn't have the skills to talk about it and he won't talk about it.
He can't.
And that's a problem, right? Yeah. That's a problem. You got to be able to figure it out together, right?
So true.
Yes.
So true.
So it's interesting to look back on that. But let's talk about the episode overall, because I really, really, really want to hear your thoughts on the others' storylines. So what do you make of I mean, we've got so many things going on, but I love your relationship with Carrie.
Yeah.
I mean, I had forgotten that there was kind of so much more in it than just the fashion show, you know?
Yeah. You know, because there's history and there's just like a bossiness, but also like I'm trying to help her, but it's also my reputation on the line. So it's a very complicated, layered thing. But yeah, I love that.
I love like at one point you tell her to lighten up or something when she's like, oh, now I'm with the not fashion people, you know, the non-models and Ed Koch. And like, you're like, just get over it, you know, like lighten up. It's so good because she really does like trip out. You know what I mean? And I love Alan Cumming. Did you know him before?
I knew him before and I love him. I've always loved him. He's the best. And, you know, he's such a special guy. You know, I know him from hanging out on Fire Island. And, you know, he's just so amazing. So yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, so much fun. So much fun. I've seen him since too, but I don't even think we've talked about it. Like, you know, when like you just know and you don't talk about it. And now I'm doing a podcast. And I'm like, no, I need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I had also forgotten about how they switched the dress on her. Mm-hmm. And I had such flashbacks to uncomfortable photo shoots where, you know, they're all just trying to get you to do something and you're just like, no, that's not me. Yeah. But then, of course, she looks amazing, right? But then also, like, it's just, you're trying to fit into this thing that you don't really feel like you fit into.
Yeah, and you're just kind of being pushed along in this thing and you're trying to please everybody, but also trying to make sure that you feel okay. Yeah. It's very strange. It's really something that I think people can definitely relate to. Like everybody's saying, oh, it looks great, but it's hard to believe them because you don't feel so great.
Absolutely. It's really like for me, all the fashion shoots, I just felt horrible, right? For years and years and years, because also I just didn't know enough to know when I should stand up for myself or not.
You never know. You don't know, like, when should I pick my battles here? Like, what is worth fighting for? You never know.
No, you don't. You really don't. But then when you look back on it, certainly in this situation, everyone's saying you look fantastic. You look fantastic. And she does. She does. Of course she does, right? Which is great. And I had forgotten. I thought it was so sweet how... So they change the dress and they show her the little jeweled underwear and she thinks that's all they want her to wear. And so she's like, no, absolutely not. No. And then they go, oh no. Alan's like, oh no, we have a coat, you know? And so they get the coat and then they say that she needs big hair. And then they say that she needs big eyes to go with the big hair. And then she's like, I need Samantha because she'll tell me the truth. And Samantha goes back and Carrie's so vulnerable and she's like, get me another champagne, which I guess also played into why she falls down. Because obviously we know she can run down the street in those heels.
Of course.
Also, it's like a slick runway.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And just
scary.
All those eyes on you and the pressure of it, the moment, it's hard. It's hard to remember things of how to walk. It's
absolutely.
Hard.
Plus the model walk, like, very stressful. Yeah. Oh my God. But I loved how when Samantha comes back, and of course she looks amazing, but Carrie's got her hair down in her face. Do you remember this? And then she picks it up. It's just all so charming and she looks so stressed, but it's really so relatable and believable and I love it. And then Samantha's like, oh no, it's good. And then Carrie feels better, which I really loved. I'd forgotten all of that. I'd also totally forgotten that I bring Anthony to meet Stanford, which just is so adorable. And I'd also forgotten about this adorable scene at the beginning of the show when Carrie and Stanford are out and he says, I know what I look like to her. And she's
sad.
I know.
So sad.
Like, it's just so sweet. Like Willie delivers really it like so beautifully and sweetly.
He was so beautiful. I really miss him.
Me
he was
too.
my we used to do the this thing called 25 Words or Less, which is this like really fun game show. And he was a
Oh,
formidable scene partner. We would like play, and sometimes we would play against each other. Sometimes we would play on a team together. And he was just a brilliant game player
oh,
and just a
so
really
bright.
beautiful guy.
I
You
know.
know, it's so weird to think about. Yeah.
Isn't
Whenever
it?
I watch this show, I'm like, gosh, it's so strange.
It's really
Somebody
horrible.
that's not there anymore. It's
I know.
shocking.
I know. It is like on the one hand a joy, right? Like whenever he comes on the screen,
Yeah,
he's
it's like
so
you
vivid,
remember how wonderful, how full of
right?
life and fun and so funny.
And so unusual. Like he was such an unusual person. You
Right.
know, like there's no one like him, which I
No.
think is why he worked so much and why he had friends
Yeah.
everywhere, you
He
know?
could do everything.
Yep.
You know, he could be gay, he could be straight,
Yep.
he could be young, he could be old. It was very weird. It was like
Definitely. He was
everything.
very unique.
Very much a shapeshifter and
Yeah.
truly an actor in every way, like so different and so powerful. The great guy.
It's so true. And whenever he comes up on screen, I'm like, you know, because he is just so vivid too. Like he jumps out at you,
Hmm.
you know, on the screen. And then to think that he's not here is obviously horrible. But it's amazing that he is on the screen. You
Yeah.
know, like it does make you feel like, oh yes, thank God.
Yeah, it's really nice.
We worked really hard and that lives on and like created something and you can
Yeah.
feel his energy.
That's so special.
Right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. And the sad thing, when I was watching this show, I realized that the photographer is played by James McCaffrey, who also played another character, a different character in the first season. He plays Big's kind of asshole friend. They go to this party and we run into all these other women who are like, you still have my passport to Big. And Carrie's like, how many women here have you dated? That's James McCaffrey, who I also remember sitting in the HBO waiting room. He was reading for Big.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And you can see he's like a good looking guy, you know, kind of similar age. He plays a photographer in this. And he sadly died in 2023 because I was thinking we should get him on the show and discuss these different parts that he played. He died of cancer in 2023.
Oh.
It's so sad, but he's so great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he and Justin Theroux both played different characters as the same actor obviously played different characters. So now we know that he gets to be in the Justin Theroux category of specialness.
That's so great.
Yeah, it is so
love
great
that.
because obviously Michael's very controlling about casting. So if someone got to play two characters, they were like super
Big deal.
special.
That's a very big deal.
Exactly. So when I take Anthony to meet Stanford, and Anthony is pretty mean, you know, and Stanford, but then Stanford also goes in the back and says, you know, why would Charlotte bring such a queen? It's all pretty entertaining.
So funny. So perfect.
So perfect. And also so, I feel like these are things, and maybe it's just my world, but I feel like all these things are much more discussed and known about like gay culture.
Yes. Yes.
Like the stress to be attractive and the, you know, like kind of hierarchy or whatever within like Carrie, doesn't Carrie say something to him like, I have bigger things to worry about than like level of queenness, the level of queenness in your world, something like that. It's pretty funny and very fun that we got to kind of be open about those things back then.
And
you
learn
know?
about it too. Like it's like everybody's learning about it.
Yep.
You know? And it's emerging into like heterosexual culture, even
Yes.
though the show is really rooted in gay culture too.
Yes.
It's from a heterosexual female perspective.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's allowing it to emerge is really cool.
I agree. It's fun. And you think back like, oh yeah, people didn't know this stuff back then.
Right. Totally.
Not the wide culture, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. Okay. So Charlotte, this is when I have this crazy thing that I also forgot about where I say that my vagina is depressed in this whole episode. And I go to the OBGYN and we talk about vulvodynia, which I mean, is this real? I don't know.
I think
It
it is
must
real.
be.
I think it is
Okay.
real. Yes.
But it's
For
not
sure.
something that I hear about very often.
No, but I think it exists for
It
sure.
must exist. I mean, they do all their research or whatever. I didn't look that up today because I was busy looking up James McCaffrey. But it's I had vaguely remembered this because this is when I'm in that vague time where like I'm trying to make it work with tray, but it's not really working. And you see that I have a cross on at one point. That was Michael planning ahead, that he knew that I was going to meet Harry and have to deal with whether I was going to convert or not. He was so smart.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying to me, like, you have to wear the cross. And I was like, calm down. Why?
He knew, he could see the future and he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Exactly. And I love that about him. And I had also forgotten this whole thing. I had forgotten Samantha getting photographed naked. I mean, it was great. She's so bold. And then I forgot about that. And then I love how, she's like, I'm doing this for me. But then every man who sees the picture, she's waiting, are they going to compliment me? And then luckily that delivery guy sees her on her own wall and compliments her, which is good. But then I had also forgotten that they tie together in the final coffee shop scene where they ask Charlotte if she shows me a picture and wants to know if it's Artie. And I'm like, it's a full frontal. And she goes, I was just warming up. And then we discuss whether we've looked at it ourselves. And I'm like, I don't want to look at it. And she makes me promise to go home and look at it. And this is when I fall off the bed looking at it, which I think is super adorable.
It's so funny.
I had thought that was like first season. You know what I mean? Because it is kind of like an innocent Charlotte.
But Charlotte is very innocent for the entire series, even afterwards, and just like that, because it's like she just retains that. I think she retains her childlike wonder at things.
That is true. Sometimes it's hard to be objective, but yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing to retain in this crazy, crazy world.
For sure. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. And I love that. And I have a 14-year-old daughter, and not that I would tell her to go look at herself in a mirror because she'd be like, Mom, and roll her eyes. But, these are good things to be putting out in the world.
Well, you should know what you look like. I mean, it's good to know, at least just for your own reference.
Absolutely. And because there's just such stigma about all of it, just to cut through the stigma and be like, yes, you should look at, what do you mean you don't want to look at yourself? It's a little bit crazy. But, this is the inherited patriarchy, basically, right?
Yes,
we got to break that down. So I had forgotten that this was now, and it was so interesting how they came together. And I love that this is the way, Samantha has so many ways that she's kind of trying to help the rest of them, not worry about things so much and not hang on to the men. And, when we're talking about the soulmates, which is the episode right before, and, she's like, I don't worry about that, and that's a great voice to have. Right. But then also here for her, it's really about self-love and empowering each woman. And yes, this is what I look like. And there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Right.
It's a great thing. It's beautiful, incredibly beautiful. I'd fully forgotten about all of it, so it was very enjoyable. And it was so funny to see Tony Hale sitting there. It's so funny and good with literally almost no lines.
Right, because we didn't know he was going to be Tony Hale.
Right, but he so clearly was Tony Hale, right? Because he made you laugh with no lines.
Yeah.
It's impressive. It's so interesting. Actors are so interesting. And I love when we would have Bradley Cooper had one line in the first season. And not one, maybe two, but they were great. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. But he, he was like, I was a kid. That was my first or second job. But he was fantastic. He just had something interesting,
Yeah.
It's so interesting to see that stuff, I think. And then Miranda. Oh, my God. Miranda's storyline really cracked me up. There are times when I'm watching and I think that Michael Patrick, because he wrote and directed these, and sometimes the other writers are kind of writing our own experience of the success of the show into the show, right? And so in this episode, Miranda's at the gym being her regular, just Miranda self, right? And this very handsome guy starts flirting with her. And he's so obviously trying to get her out, to go out. And she's fully oblivious in a very Miranda type of a way. And then he fully has to say oh yeah, no, I want to take you out. So they go out and he's totally into her. She doesn't say much. And he says to her something like, you hardly talk. Did I talk so much? Did I talk too much? Which I was like, wow, that's unlike Miranda that she wouldn't talk. And then the second time they go out, she's kind of feeling herself because this handsome guy thinks she's so sexy, which she said to Carrie, I don't think of myself this way. I think of myself as smart. And later on, I try to convince them that I'm sexy. But this guy just sees that I'm sexy across the gym. so then she's kind of playing a part a little bit, right? Like, oh, and, I love my life. She's on the date with him. I love my life. And, Cynthia's so funny when she does these things, right? I just love it. And he's just sitting there and he doesn't look that into her. And then she tries to kiss him and he doesn't really do it. And then later on, in very Miranda style, she goes up to him at the gym and she says, hey, it's just really weird that you didn't call me because you were really into me, but then you suddenly weren't. And I don't know why. And it's fine, but I'm just wondering. And he goes, well, you just seem kind of full of yourself. And part of me wonders, the writers and the actors, we were in this experience together, right? So we were doing this kind of unheard of, unknown show in a bubble. And then it got more popular. Third season is when it kind of wow, pow, out like popping champagne. And now we're at fourth season. And so I'm wondering, it was often they were writing their own stories. And then occasionally I felt like Michael Patrick would put in a little personal dig at us, right? Do you know what I mean? Like upcoming, it hasn't happened yet. I had done a play off Broadway called The Exonerated, which was about real people who were put in prison for crimes they didn't commit on death row, and then were exonerated and came out. So it was a super serious play. I'm downtown doing this play, and they send a New York Times photographer to take my picture, but it's downtown. It's not a photo shoot. It's a photo shoot, but it's super down, right? No hair and makeup, blah blah blah. So I'm nervous about it and excited that it's a real piece or whatever in the New York Times. When it comes out, there's a mark on my upper lip, like an ink stain on my upper lip. And it's not just in one New York Times, it's in all of them. He wrote that into the show when Harry and Charlotte get their picture taken on the rocks for the love section, for the engagement section. And I say I look like Hitler. I call Carrie and I'm like, I look like Hitler. That was based on something in life that happened to me,
that's
right?
So hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So Michael, right? That he would do that. But usually it was the writers. But this whole storyline, I felt for Miranda, I felt like it was kind of a little bit oh, you guys feel so successful now. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm reading into that and it wasn't. No, I'm going to ask him.
It makes sense. It's because it's the people, you're going on people's assumptions of what you must be like because you're experiencing such success.
Yeah.
And then kind of dealing with the thought of what somebody might be thinking and then you're acting on it. It's very complicated, but I love that.
Isn't it? And then what they really like is that you weren't like that.
Right.
But then how do you make sense of that?
Funny.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's interesting to think about. But when I do watch it, I had always thought that the first season was really bad, like a mess. That in my mind, that's what I thought, because I think we felt a bit of a mess, right? Nothing had aired. We didn't know what people were going to say. But when I look back on it, it's so good and all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
Well,
it's all of you because you guys have such great chemistry. You're all so funny. It was such a unique take on sexuality and women and business and New York and independence.
Yeah.
It was so powerful. I think that's why it was such a phenomenon, because you were speaking to this idea that women's stories matter.
Yeah.
And without the idea of children, or maybe children coming.
Right.
But without the idea of husbands coming.
Right.
It's really the search for ourselves.
Definitely the search for ourselves, as Michael Patrick, starts putting in as we go, right? He deepens it. He deepens it. But even in the kind of rough first season, it's all there.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit messy. And I think that's what people love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else that you want to talk about from the memories?
It's just really special. It's really special to have been a part of it. Being a part of such a huge phenomenon at the apex. This was really the apex of it, and to just have a little bit of a couple of days to walk around and witness what you guys were doing and, be able to participate. It was a real honor. And it was one of the things that I treasure most in my career.
I agree. I think you're just so fantastic. And I really wish we'd brought you back. And I really wish you'd been in and just like that. And I really wish you'd written our show.
I know.
It would have been so interesting.
Let's do it all again.
Totally. Let's do it all again. The nice thing too is we're all still out there functioning, right?
Yep.
You just got to keep going and find your way and get your voice out there. And I think it's so great. You're touring still. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. It's really fun.
I'm so glad. Glad. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Is there anything else about the tour that we could suggest or mention? Or
people can get tickets at margaretcho.com. I'm going everywhere. It's called Choligarchy, and it's all political comedy. I want to get into a new world and, get out of this terrible situation that we're in. So
I love that.
It's a lot of fun.
I love it that you have your own website and you're doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now I have another question. I have no idea what you're going to say, but Margaret Cho, are you a Charlotte?
I'm part Charlotte. I'm part Miranda. I'm probably like, I would say I'm a Charlotte with a Miranda rising.
Love it.
And, but my moon is in Samantha.
Love it.
And and I have a lot of Carrie in my chart.
Ooh.
So yes.
I think that's fantastic. That makes good sense. I love to hear everybody's answers. They're always really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. If I think about you, yes. I mean, because you do have kind of a, like a sharp wit, like a Miranda wit, but then also like there's exploration in the way that Carrie does in your work,
yes, for sure.
Like turning something over, like, what do we think of this? Like, yeah. And then I love if you have I think a Samantha Moon is about the best. That could, that's a good
sensual. It's erotic. It can be very like, raunchy at times. So for sure.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it so much. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. It was really, really fun.
So fun.
Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All righty. It is time for our Hyundai Hot Take. And for this episode, The Real Me, I think I'm going to have to say Samantha taking these nude photos that she does, because it's so powerful for her to be, in her Samantha type way, embracing her body and being so unapologetic and, showing them to people and then telling Charlotte she should go look at herself. I mean, all of it is just so pro women and powerful that I think that's going to be my hot take. Go Samantha. Celebrating iconic moments, bold moves, and unforgettable style, just like Hyundai.